What's up YouTube, Tom from TechStops here, and just a quick video today comparing the Canon 7D to the Nikon or Nikon D300s. I do get quite a few emails asking me what I would recommend between these two cameras, and both these cameras are on the crop sensor bodies, and they are really the top of the range, prosumer range, before you get into the full frame bodies for each camera. So I thought I'd do a quick video, go through the specs. I'll go through the sensor, autofocus, the construction, shooting capability for stills, video capability, LCD viewfinder, price, weight, and so forth. And ultimately, I'll rank a point to the winner of each category, and then we'll come out with the best camera at the end of it. I'll put a bit of a disclaimer out there. I'm a Canon shooter, so I might be a bit biased. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Post below and let me know if you think I've been biased or if you think otherwise. But here we go. So in respect to the sensor, the Canon 7D has a 18 megapixel CMOS sensor, which is a fantastic sensor and produces great results. It's probably the right size at 18 megapixel. I think anything above that, if you're shooting RAW, you really start chewing up a lot of data. So it's a good mix between allowing you to crop and blow up your photos at 80 megapixel, but it still doesn't chew up too much data. Saying that, compact flash drives are getting a lot cheaper, so it's not too bad. Compared to the Nikon D300s, which has a 12.3 megapixel CMOS sensor, the Nikon is magnified at 1.5 times, which is standard for Nikon, and the Canon at 1.6 times, standard for Canon. So sensor easily goes to the Canon 7D. Next point, autofocus. So the Canon 7D has a new 19-point autofocus system, which works really well and is a big enhancement for Canon bodies, which typically haven't had the best autofocus systems. But you really can't go past Nikon's 51-point autofocus system. Autofocus is a typical, or has historically been a huge strength for Nikon. And in this case, you really can't go past it, and in between these two bodies, it clearly and easily goes to Nikon. So 1 point to Nikon, tied at 1-1. Construction of the two bodies. Both bodies are made of magnesium alloy. They're really durable and really high quality construction. The Nikon, and both actually have weather sealing, so they're really on the pro range of construction compared to the entry-level models, which are plastic and don't really have the weather sealing. So you're really equal on that front. One thing to probably note is the Canon is made in Japan, whereas the Nikon D300s is made in Thailand. But half a point each to both. They're both equal on the construction side. Ergonomics is it's each to its own. So, but construction, half point each. Shooting capability for stills. I rank the 7D higher than the Nikon D300s purely because the 18 megapixel sensor and shooting at 8 frames per second on a burst mode just gives you more flexibility. The 8 frames per second is 1 frame faster. The Nikon D300s is 7 frames per second, but that allows you, it's got better capability for sports photography and the like, but the 18 megapixel sensor just really allows you to blow the images up and more creativity on that front. In respect to output quality, the Nikon D300s has been, there has been, I guess, some criticism that images are slightly softer. I use both these bodies with the corresponding 24-70 f2.8 lens on Canon and Nikon, and I didn't find the Nikon to be any softer in the images. So they both have great image quality, but I put this one out to the 18 megapixel sensor and the quicker burst mode. I throw it out to Canon. So 2 points to Canon, or I guess 2.5 points to Canon, and 1.5 points to Nikon. Video capability. Canon can shoot at 1080p at 24 frames per second, full HD. Can also shoot 720p HD video at 50 and 60 frames per second. That far outweighs the performance of the Nikon D300s, which shoots 720p HD video at 24 frames per second. So Canon has typically been much stronger on the video capability on its DSLRs, and that's I guess that's to be expected, given it does have, or has, a history of video cameras, dedicated video cameras. So that easily goes to the Canon. One thing to note is at 18 megapixel, and if you're shooting 1080p video, the Canon does chew up a lot of data. So get those compact flash cards ready because you'll need them. LCD and viewfinder both have 3-inch LCD screens with 920,000 pixel resolution. Fantastic screen, so you can't go wrong with either one of them. And they both have 100% coverage viewfinder, so half a point each. Can't go, you can't split that. I would note that the Canon itself has 1.1 times magnification, and the Nikon has 0.94 times magnification when you're looking through a viewfinder, but really no big deal. The last point is weight and price. I think weight's important. These aren't professional bodies and won't be used by professionals, so you'll be using it by, prosumers and entry-level people across a whole vast range of skills, age groups, and males and females. So weight is important. They both weigh similar amounts: 800 grams or 1.8 pounds for the Canon, 840 grams or 1.9 pounds for the Nikon. So slightly heavier. To give you an example of the weight, the Canon 5D Mark II actually weighs less than the 800 grams of the 7D. So these are fairly chunky, heavy bodies. You throw a big lens, fast 2.8 constant aperture lens on the back of that, and you're looking around the 1.5 kilo, 3 pound or 4 pound sort of mark. So it can get pretty heavy pretty quickly. So, but really they're equal there. In respect to the price, Nikon pulls out stumps just a little ahead of the Canon. $1,499 at B&H compared to $1,535 at B&H for the Canon, but really half a point each, and that's about it. So the Nikon D300s I've got at 2.5 points out of 8, and I've got the Canon 7D at 4.5 points out of 8. So there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are. You can't go wrong with either. So if you're a Canon user and you need an upgrade from the D90 or one of their other bodies, the D300s really is an excellent body. And image quality wise, you can't go wrong. But just the higher specs of the Canon, which again is an excellent body, it produces fantastic images both for stills and video. The higher specs there, I'll just rank that slightly higher than the Canon. So let me know your thoughts. Are you a Nikon or a Canon user? Please rate this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my videos. This is Tom from TechStops here, and I'll catch you next time.